What if I told you that the most common advice given for diabetes is dangerously incomplete, and that millions of people are avoiding the wrong foods while embracing the very things that guarantee a future of complications? Welcome, my friends. Professor Vitalis here with your daily dose of wisdom and wellness, where science and experience walk hand in hand. It is absolutely critical that you stay with me until the very end of our discussion today. We will go far beyond a simple list of good and bad foods. In the final moments, I will reveal the single most empowering truth about this condition, a principle that explains why some individuals are able to not just manage, but in some cases, even achieve remission, turning back the clock on their diagnosis. This is the knowledge that transforms a patient into the master of their own health. Let's begin. I am often astonished and frankly concerned when I see the first step many people take after a diabetes diagnosis. They immediately declare a war on carbohydrates, banishing bread, pasta, and even fruits from their lives. Yet, in the same breath, they continue to consume products that are, without exaggeration, poison for a person with compromised blood sugar regulation. They make dreadful fundamental errors that can lead to irreversible damage to their bodies. Today, we put an end to that confusion. The first and most important item to eliminate, the undisputed public enemy number one for anyone with type 2 diabetes, is alcohol. I will never ever be at peace with the idea of a diabetic person consuming alcohol, and I must be firm here. For an ordinary person, the choice to drink is a personal one with its own set of risks. But for a person with diabetes, it is a catastrophic gamble with the worst possible odds. Here is what happens, and it is a brutal two-act tragedy for your body. Your liver is a magnificent organ with many jobs. One of its primary roles is to produce and release glucose into your bloodstream to keep your energy levels stable, especially when you haven't eaten. But when you drink alcohol, the liver's emergency sirens go off. It drops everything else to focus on its most urgent task, detoxifying the body from this poison. This means the glucose factory shuts down completely and without warning. This shutdown leads to a rapid, dangerous drop in blood sugar, a state known as hypoglycemia. You might feel weak, dizzy, break into a cold sweat, or become confused. Your body is screaming for sugar that the liver is now refusing to provide. But the tragedy doesn't end there. After some time, once the alcohol is partially metabolized, the liver finally lurches back into action. In a desperate attempt to compensate for the previous crisis, it overreacts. It floods your system with a massive surge of glucose. On top of that, the alcohol itself is often mixed with, or is a source of carbohydrates which are also being absorbed. The result? In the span of a single evening, you have subjected your body to a violent whiplash, from starvation-level low blood sugar to a toxic, damagingly high level. It's like taking a steel rod and beating your delicate blood vessels, first from one side, then the other. This single act dramatically accelerates the risk of all diabetic complications, heart attacks, strokes, blindness, and yes, the amputations of lower limbs that I have seen far too many times in my career. Please, I implore you, that glass of wine or vodka is not worth your eyesight. It is not worth your legs. It is not worth your life. Next, we must address the insidious role of animal fat. Diabetes is not just a disease of sugar, it is, at its core, a disease of the blood vessels. A good doctor today looks at the complete picture: glucose, yes, but also blood pressure, and critically, your cholesterol and lipid levels. The tragic truth is that most people with diabetes do not pass away from high sugar itself, but from its consequences: heart attacks and strokes. The amount of cholesterol you consume from outside sources directly contributes to this risk. Imagine the inner lining of your blood vessels is a perfectly smooth, pristine pipe. High blood sugar acts like sandpaper, creating microscopic scratches and damage along that lining. Now, think of cholesterol, particularly the LDL or bad cholesterol found in animal fats, as a thick, sticky sludge. This sludge finds those rough, damaged spots and latches on. Over time, it builds up, creating plaque in a process called atherosclerosis. The pipes of your circulatory system become narrower and harder. A heart attack is simply that pipe to your heart becoming fully clogged. A stroke is the pipe to your brain becoming blocked. Therefore, you must consciously and drastically reduce your intake of fatty meats, of the butter you cook with, of high-fat sauces and dressings, and even the number of egg yolks you consume. Transitioning to plant-based fats like olive oil and avocado oil is not a minor tweak. It is a profound act of self-preservation that directly lowers your risk of cardiovascular catastrophe. This brings us to a related category: processed meats. Sausages, hot dogs, salami, and deli meats must be relegated to, at best, a very rare occasion. Let's be honest about what these products are. If you examine the ingredients, you'll find that in most cases, they are more fat than they are protein. Often 40 to 50% of their content is the very animal fat we just discussed. This makes them ticking time bombs for both your cholesterol levels and your waistline. Excess body weight profoundly worsens diabetes and makes blood sugar control vastly more difficult. Processed meats are incredibly high in calories for the poor nutritional value they provide. You are consuming a huge caloric load without the benefit of quality protein that keeps you full and builds muscle. Why do this to yourself? It makes far more sense to switch to clean, pure sources of protein: grilled chicken, baked fish, cottage cheese, eggs, tofu, and wonderful seafood. These foods nourish your body, support weight management, and don't come with the baggage of excess saturated fat and sky-high calories. Now, let's clear up the great carbohydrate misunderstanding. There is a deeply ingrained myth that diabetes means a life without any carbohydrates at all. This is not only false, it is unhealthy. Your body, even with diabetes, needs carbohydrates for energy. The secret lies in choosing the right kind. We must learn to distinguish between fast carbs and slow carbs. Fast carbohydrates are like a firework, a brilliant, rapid explosion of energy. They are digested almost instantly, causing a massive, immediate spike in your blood sugar. This category includes obvious culprits like table sugar, honey, sugary syrups, and white flour, but also sneaky sources like white rice, which your body processes almost as quickly as pure sugar. This sudden flood of glucose is precisely what injures your blood vessels, bringing you one step closer to that heart attack or stroke. Slow carbohydrates, on the other hand, are like a slow-burning log in a fireplace. They are packed with fiber, which slows down digestion. They release their glucose into your bloodstream gradually, gently, over many hours. This provides you with steady, sustained energy without the damaging spikes. These are your allies: foods like buckwheat, basmati, or brown rice, whole grain pasta, and yes, even potatoes in moderation can be part of a healthy diabetic diet. We are not eliminating carbs, we are upgrading them. A special mention must be made for added sugars, especially those in liquid form. Products like sugary sodas and packaged fruit juices are perhaps the most damaging of all. A single can of soda or glass of juice contains a terrifying amount of sugar that hits your bloodstream like a tidal wave. Because it's a liquid, it doesn't make you feel full, so it's easy to consume hundreds of empty, harmful calories without even realizing it. You must switch to pure water, herbal teas, or eating the whole fruit instead. A whole apple contains fiber and water, which slow sugar absorption. Apple juice is just sugar water. As for diet sodas, it is true that they do not raise blood sugar. While there are ongoing discussions about artificial sweeteners, the scientific consensus is that the proven immediate harm of sugar far outweighs the hypothetical risks of its substitutes. However, the best drink will always be water. This brings me to the fundamental pillar upon which all diabetes management is built. Your diet and lifestyle are not just part of the treatment, they are the treatment. As a professional, I can know every medication, every combination, every cutting-edge therapy. But if you do not take control of what you eat and how you move, my hands are tied. I become powerless. We will be fighting a losing battle, constantly chasing high blood sugar with more and more medication. For a person without diabetes, eating a slice of cake is a simple matter of calories. For you, it is a small, cumulative injury to your body. One injury might not seem like a big deal. But one injury every day, or several times a week, for years. That is how the devastating complications are built. It happens one bite at a time. This is how a person ends up on dialysis, or blind, or in a wheelchair. The gravity of your daily choices cannot be overstated. And now, for the truth I promised you at the beginning. In modern medicine, we no longer treat every person with diabetes the same. The old idea of forcing everyone's blood sugar below a single rigid number has been abandoned, as we found it didn't necessarily improve quality of life or longevity. Your doctor should be working with you to set individualized targets for your blood sugar, both when fasting and after meals, and for your glycated hemoglobin, or A1C, which is your 3-month average. But here is the most powerful insight of all. The amount of fat tissue in your body is directly related to how difficult your diabetes is to control. Excess fat, especially the visceral fat that surrounds your internal organs, releases inflammatory substances that make your body cells deaf to the signal of insulin. This is called insulin resistance. But here is the miracle. This deafness is not always permanent. Studies have conclusively shown that for many individuals, particularly those with prediabetes or in the early stages of type 2 diabetes, losing a significant amount of weight, around 15% of their starting body mass, can fundamentally change the course of the disease. By reducing the fat tissue, you reduce the inflammation. Your cells can begin to hear the insulin again. Their sensitivity returns. This is how it becomes possible to reduce or even stop medication. This is how reversal and remission happen. It isn't magic. It is your body's incredible innate ability to heal itself once you remove the burden that was causing the disease. You have more power over this condition than you have ever been led to believe. Knowledge only works when you apply it. I'm Professor Vitalis. Stay curious, stay healthy, and never stop learning.